I, I'm not a reader, an avid reader of this magazine. I read all magazines, I see a lot of, that's one of the good things of living with, my parents is they get a lot of magazines and I read some of their magazines. Now going through it, it's talking about starving for justice, hunger strikes from California to Israel. They talk about Guantanamo and California hunger strikes. Okay, they talk about everything from Colombia to Russia, the Middle East, austerity protests. They talk about martyrdom and how far people go protesting the government, and they talk about niacin deficiency. See, first you have double vision, then your sight dims, you vomit green bile, your speech is slurred, you can't hear very well, you have jaundice, you have scurvy from lack of vitamin C. Your gums begin to bleed. You may be bleeding into your stomach and intestines. You may have thiamine deficiency, and it goes on to talk about niacin deficiency and skin breakdown and sores on your mouth. So, hunger makes you more ugly, and it makes you have quote-unquote symptoms of a mental disorder on record, okay? And what are these symptoms? Double vision, slurred speech, etc., etc. We're talking about vitamin deficiencies here. We're not talking about chemical imbalances. We're talking about deficiencies. And we're talking about mind, body, and soul connection and the inability for one to deal with those deficiencies without the proper supplementation. Bottom line, they're a bunch of unscrupulous filth. They even talk about filth and scum in this, and they talk about how that's an act of desperation and the only way for a prisoner to protest unjust treatment. And they talk about collective punishment, and they talk about sadistic prison guards. I'd go as far as to say the root cause of this is psychology, which comes from Germany, behavioral psychology, developed, pioneered within Western culture in Germany and other Anglo-Saxon countries and countries like France and America, and for the purpose of Germanic peoples to twist politics using scientific racism, especially psychology, and the white racists within sociology who ignore the truth and downplay the suffering of the subordinated and disenfranchised minorities. It's quite clear that this is a clear-cut example of cultural imperialism, globalism, and the evolution of everything I've been talking about being performed and applied by a bunch of unscrupulous filth. Bottom line.